make that call.
My check. How well can y'all
As
hear
a
me?
black man who created black people,
Oh
you're
yeah,
not
no,
good.
go ahead. Hold on, Jay Prince. Hold on, Jay Prince. Hold
Go
your thought. Go ahead, Christopher J.
ahead,
Go
Chris.
ahead, Christopher J.
Please get
Go
in it.
ahead.
First order of business. Thank you guys for having me back on the show. Greatly appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Good evening to the
Okay,
panel.
Happy New Year's, of course.
Happy New Year's. Let me start with
What's up?
JP. Let's start with what JP got right. Let's start with what JP got right.
Okay.
The advertisement.
I'll be right back, y'all.
Okay.
All right, cool. He got what he is correct on is the advertisement. You see a lot of interracial models who partake in these ads. He is correct on that. You see a lot of that now more so than back in the 90s and back in the 80s. Now, here's one thing that he forgets or he might have overlooked. That's across the board. Go to the white community, there's interracial dating. Go to our community, interracial dating. Latinos, Asian, whatever, interracial dating across the board. And his take on you'll have some black people who are nerds or part of the LGBTQIA as representation. Again, that's across the board. That's not exclusively a black problem. So he might be right about the narrative that is being pushed, but he's wrong by saying that's only regarding black people. Now, if he's focused on black people, I can give him that. But to say that's all it is, he's absolutely wrong. There's no credibility. There's no evidence to prove that soliloquy he won on. That's number one. Now there was one other. Now the genetics things, ladies and gentlemen, I don't care if you dark skin, you light skin. That's still you still have a form of melanin in your skin. You cannot in your genes. Excuse me. You cannot change that. So to foolishly display a level of colorism by saying if you're my skin complexion, you black, but if you fair skin, you can't be black. That person has genetics that already solidified that they are black. Who are you to argue that? So we need to stop lying to ourselves and believing false narratives just because it makes us feel good because we don't want to go out there and do the simple education to educate ourselves.
I agree with that.
Facts. I agree.
I,
Facts,
I,
Christopher J.
I
And
agree with you.
no, drop Mike.
I mean,
Go ahead.
that
Go
mean
ahead, Rufus.
he agreed with us, right? Christopher J agreed with us because we understand. See, one thing about black people, we know what we are. Yeah, we know what we are. We understand we got flaws in our community. We understand we got greatness in our community. We understand that, yeah, we're in a little bit of a bind here with our women on these YouTube streets. Right? Yeah. It's just the talk about what men want and what women want is just it's a little frail. I'm not going to deny that. But we have not totally abandoned each other. That, I can say that. Yeah. Right? We have not totally just turned our back and say, you know what? I'm pro-white or Asian, none of that. Right? Because at the end of the day, when we go home at night, we go to where we are comfortable with, where we're used to. And can we potentially get better in the future? Who knows, right? Hopefully. But right now, at this day, at this point, black people are still at a great success rate from the historical, which we come from, the grips of slavery. We have exceeded expectation of success. Go ahead, Hakeem.
I could even second it and say black people in America are doing better than any other black race in around the world.
Yes. Yeah, so this is why I don't understand JP's premise. Yeah, are we having problems? Not done it, but we are still at the top of the chain.
Yes.
I don't get it. What else could you want in a country that's built against you?
I also want to comment that Christopher J and everybody said with this point, the programming has always been there, even back then. You know what I'm trying to say? Yes. But still, and I say this, even with what we talking about on these YouTube street, when we get offline, I see something different than what they say on YouTube.
Yes.
I know 4 black people who still get married, and this is why I was kind of confused with the whole dark skin thing.
Right.
Because I know 2 couples that are both dark skinned that are together. Now, I'm not saying that it's not there but the way he painted, like it's overwhelming. Like you see herds of black women. No, black women still historically still want to be with black men at a large number.
A very
At
large number.
a large number, no matter how it.
Matter of fact, the largest of all races.
Yeah, and even with the programming.
Yes. See,
Even
right, because we are what we eat, right? We are what we eat, and we are black people, right? Who desire black people. So like, it's not like all of a sudden a black woman, she might complain, but at the end of the day, she looking for him to land on that plane, come to the bomber.
Let me touch on that. Let me touch on that real quick because about the interracial, like black men, black women marrying out. I believe somebody brought up the numbers to say 9% of black women marry outside the race.
Yeah,
That
that's
was-
ruthless. Ruthless
Yeah,
is the one.
ruthless. Okay, 9% marry outside the race, and I believe for black men it's 15%. Why are we focused on the minority?
Right. That's my point, Chris. That's my point.
If you step outside, and obviously outside of advertisements, because I understand that.
Right.
You step outside, majority of black people are with black people.
Yes.
So why are we not? If that's what the time you guys are, why are we not celebrating those for keeping it in house? Why are we focused on now? If this was 30%, if this was 30% black men or 30% black women dead out, I guess we can entertain Jay Prince's argument.
Yes.
If it was at 30%, it's not even 30% combined black men, black women. It's not even 30% combined. So it is okay to let certain talking points rest in peace.
Yes. I agree.
Well, Chris came with the fire. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
because
right.
when it comes to certain talking points, I don't care if it's YouTube, Clubhouse, or Fanbase or Spaces. What are my three principles? Does it make sense? Does it add value? Will it help you achieve your ultimate goal? When it comes to interracial dating, nah. Black people stick with black people, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I'll say this: there's nothing wrong if you interracial date. I don't have a problem with it. I don't know, you guys should not have a problem with it. But keep in mind, the majority of us stick together.
Yeah.
Let's celebrate that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's true.
And, right. And I do, but then that goes back to our women. Now I'm getting back to our women. That's what they need to celebrate as well.
Yeah.
Right. They need to focus on the majority, not the minority.
Yeah. Because it's a small number.
Right.
Because look, in my whole family, and this might speak for a lot of y'all too. In my whole family, I probably only got maybe, you see, and I'm speaking from a genetic point of view. I only got one person in my whole family who dates somebody that's like looks white. Just one person. And that could be from a statistic of, if we go down to each and every one of y'all, how many people in your family members from a whole group of people you know who actually date out their race? And that's the same. And if it does, it's not still overwhelming. It's not a problem if somebody dates out their race. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, they made a statistic about this in like 2030 or 2090. This whole country is going to be mixed regardless, no matter how bad you don't like it.
Yeah. See, and to your point, Hakeem, if you look at the stats what me and Christopher J talked about, we're talking about a country that's a melting pot.
Yeah.
Literally, they promote this. And we're at the top when it comes to this. We're at the top, right? The Latinas are leaving each other. They're going different races. Whites are going different races. So we are at least race mixing. So that's quite an accomplishment in this type of country.
You're right, but here's another thing that he didn't take into account. Some people, and let's be honest about this, I know in the Nation of Islam, and I know a lot of other black people, there's certain races they do not look as white. Let's get that straight.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
For people like me who grew up around Hispanics, I don't look at them as being another race. You know what I mean?
Yep.
There's certain
people look at them
I
as
look
black.
at them as being black. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's culturally.
Facts.
Puerto Ricans, a lot of people.
Yep.
I know if you go to New York, they don't look at Puerto Ricans as being as another race. They see them all in one family. You know what I mean? Same thing with me and Mexicans. I grew up with Mexicans. I've worked with them. I know they speak Spanish, but I don't see them as being as another race. So there's certain people who might date. They say, this person not white, they Mexican. You know what I mean? I think it's only considered when you date a white person. You know what I'm saying? And stuff like that. But in the Nation of Islam, they practice and they teach us there's only one person who doesn't want to consider themselves as the human family, and that's the white person. Everybody else is considered in the human family. Asians, Latinos, all that, blacks, they all considered to want to be a part of the family except for whites. That's the teachings that I remember they used to teach. Other than that, so there's a lot of other people who would, when they do date and they do marry off and be with certain people, they don't consider that as dating out their race.
But at the end, go
And
ahead,
no, I'm gonna say, I'm gonna tell you, Ruthless, are you done? Everybody got to give y'all closing remarks, because we're about to hit the 2 hour. We're about to hit the 2 hour mark. But go ahead.
I'm gonna just say this, right? Black people, I don't get it. I know we, through the struggles that we've been through from our forefathers, and I'm not saying we perfect.
Yeah.
But if you look at the measure stick, we're exceeding all expectations.
Fact.
Yeah, then we got some work to do with the how to communicate with each other, especially the men, right? Yes, we do got to do some work, right? We need to be more able to have conversations and not be so derogatory towards each other. But for the most